we started looking at soil biology back in the early or the late 90s. We were on the treadmill of more and more chemical, more and more fertiliser. Our yields weren't increasing, and our bottom line was, well, it was either stable or going down. And so we started to look at different things that we could do to alleviate that. I've stopped using chemical fertiliser, and I'm using chicken manure and compost. And what we've been doing over the last, well, I suppose it's 10 years now, has enabled us to go down that road. That regime is a lot more friendly to the soil biology, which is what we're trying to achieve. Our chemical usage, it hasn't gone down, but it hasn't gone up. When we first started down this road, our ryegrass was resistant to everything other than trifluoride and glyphosate. We've actually got our ryegrass problem under control now, and yeah, so we're opening up new options in the chemical side, but I'm trying to minimise my use of chemical so that I can look after the biology of the soil. I'm using TM21 now, or the best product. This seemed to be the thing that we were missing. We needed something that would actually get the soil biology going. We implemented back when we started, we implemented a green manuring and a stubble mulching program. We were spraying microbes on the stubble to try and get that to break down. That relied solely on moisture. We had to have moisture for that to start happening. And Best came along and made lots of claims. And I thought, well, if it does a third of what it says, it'll be good. I trialled it myself the first year. I did 400 hectare replications, and in each of those replications, 50 hectares got it, 50 hectares didn't. That was the single application. And then on the 50 hectares that I put the single application, I did 30 with the full rate, so it came back with a second. And I guess in a nutshell, that worked out that our lowest response to it paid for the use of it, and that doesn't take into account the quality improvements we had. Screenings was a major one, and hectolitre weight. Protein actually was 0.1% lower, I suppose, but we were taking the screenings out, so that would help that, or would have caused that. And so yeah, so I decided that last year we'd do the full program with it. We got our first rain in the 17th of July, our first rain was, and you know, at that stage we were looking at only getting seed back. And yeah, we got the rain, things started to happen, I put the second application on, and we ended up with a quite reasonable crop. Quality I've never grown before. We were looking at, low protein is usually our problem, and last year we had a very soft finish, so if we're going to grow low protein, that would be the year to grow it. And I was taking protein in that, yeah, no, I've never grown. The biggest thing I noticed last year was that our crop didn't go off, it didn't ripen when everybody else's was, and we were probably a good 2 to 3 weeks behind them. And I was quite worried about it, I suppose, because I've never seen it do this before. And people were saying, oh, it's a phosphorus deficiency and things like that. But our hectolitre weight was, well, as I said, the quality was just fantastic. So it wasn't phosphorus, it just went off when it was ready. Last year was, as I said, not the flashiest of seasons, but the tillers were full. The heads weren't as big, but they were full. What was there was full. And the other big thing was the bottom grains that usually fall off. They were full, and the tips were full as well, which is another thing that I was quite pleased to see. I think the most exciting thing I saw the first year I tried it was I sprayed it on the stubble in April, and then we harrow the stubble in, and it was about 10 days later I was looking, and where I'd put the best, we had hyphae on the stubble, and where I hadn't put the best, there was nothing. So just the the moisture in the mornings with the best was enough to kick things into gear, and that was exciting. Where last year was the second application, so the second year we used it, in those paddocks where the second application was and the first application was, the second application was definitely softer. I went out with my own little penetrometer, which is called garden fork, and I was just throwing it like that, and it would go in 6 to 8 inches where the second application was. It'd go in an inch where it only had one. Its ease of fitting in your program has to be, I mean, that's huge. I firmly believe that it's doing me good, or doing my farming program good. So my quality would be the second one. Well, my quality is probably the first one. I mean, the ease of using it's just that's just there. But my quality would be the first one, and the ability of the crop to hang on when it gets dry, I think, would be the second one. And I'm not saying Best is doing that on its own. It's all part of the program that we've been playing with for the last 10, 12 years. It's part of a whole thing, you know, that there's no silver bullets. So yeah, Best fits in for us.